on, Philly? Back for another edition of Drunk on Broad after our 2-week hiatus of misery. I'm Rich Conroy, joined alongside my producer,
Oscar. What's up, guys? Welcome back. We needed a break. It's just so mentally straining for Rich.
I was losing my mind, like slowly but surely. So what people don't realize is the Monday night game, we decided to do a live stream, and it was terrible. I think like the only question we got asked was about hot dogs, and I was just like, "Fuck this!" Like, I'm too miserable for this. And then I wound up drinking way too much. I had like 3 Mad Elves in the first quarter, and it just didn't let up. So I actually took a little bit off of drinking. So
You're
it
looking.
feels it feels nice to be rejuvenated and actually functioning.
A little big.
I have a hot toddy for you guys, though. I know. Sounds a little but it's delicious. Whiskey and tea, my favorite.
Ooh, I actually got this thing that's Bolero Snort Brewery, and I only bought it because of the snort thing. Thought that was hilarious.
That's one of my favorite breweries. Which one is it?
It's the Release the Crack Horn.
Oh yeah, the sea salt, the ghost.
No, it's a sour ale, the blueberry pineapple.
The blueberry one.
Yeah,
that's really good.
It's I.
Yeah, they do good stuff. So, cheers, my brother Oscar. Thanks for doing this again.
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess we have something to talk about because last night was definitely, I wouldn't say a surprise. I would say it was nice to see, but it also sucked to see.
And it's funny because I've been getting heat from a few people of just being like a Jalen Hurts hater. I don't love the guy. I don't hate the guy. I want him to do well. I want him to succeed. That's not a question. My thing is his talent on the field, the running game, like he can run. I give him that. I don't want another quarterback who can just run. I want to see him develop as a passer. 17 of 30 for 167 and 1. Those numbers are inflated off of a few things. Alshon Jeffrey probably should have been called for offensive pass interference in the end zone against Lattimore with the underthrown back shoulder throw for the touchdown. So that should have came back. Then you had Jalen Reagor, who literally was picked wide open for a 39-yard gain. There were 6 receptions last night by wide receivers. Jalen Hurts scrambled 18 times for 106 yards. That's a beautiful thing. He had more runs than completed passes. That worries me. Everybody said, oh, he didn't get hit. The line played well. The line didn't really play well.
The line was the line. It's the same line as always. It was just his legs. His legs saved him.
Which is amazing. And I'm happy that the kid can run. But the kid didn't show me much passing the ball. The decisions that he made, I'm not saying I'm going to be like, oh, I'm not impressed. I can't do it. But as a fan, I'm watching this game and I'm like, I don't see any tight window throws. I'm not being wowed off of, any of the completions that he made. Oh, the Saints have a great defense. The Saints didn't show up. The Saints came in thinking they were going to destroy the Eagles. Joke's on the Saints. But you also have Taysom Hill. Jalen Hurts is who Sean Payton wants Taysom Hill to be. A better runner, a better athlete, and a guy who can actually throw the ball. Even though Taysom Hill had a higher completion percentage, I think 110 more yards and another touchdown, but threw an interception. Didn't run as much. So let's see what his line is. He was 28 for 38 for 291 and 2 touchdowns. His rushing, which is usually better, was down. My takeaway from the game, feed Miles Sanders. This goes back to our 3rd episode. Run the ball, Doug. Run the ball. Why are we have a prolific run game. A guy who's averaging now probably over 6 yards a carry with his 8.2 from Sunday. Why are we running the ball? And where was this play calling with Carson?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's essentially what the whole thing is, and it hurts to see that. What was it, Doug being like, you know what, Carson's gonna dig us out of this one. He's gonna play his heroics every time. Like, is that his thinking? Like, I really can't put my. They just simplified the playbook. Why not simplify the playbook when Carson Wentz was actually struggling? Like, it's annoying, I guess, to see that.
So I read an article today, and it was why is Doug successful with backup quarterbacks? And then they asked Doug, and Doug said the same thing. Well, I don't overthink it. I just simplify it, and we run a real simple. The language is simple. So why not do that with Carson? Which is the whole thing that I don't understand. It's like, okay, we're going to simplify the playbook for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has legs, so he's going to run. Okay, but you're also not running you're running rollouts. You're not running anything that's complicated. I'm not saying the offense under Carson was complicated, but it just was a well called game. It was simple and it worked, and you beat a playoff contending team. My beef: why do you want to win this season when the same thing is going to happen next year? It doesn't really matter. Like, this season is a wash. For us to make it to the playoffs, to get destroyed at home, like, please, Washington, win two more. Win two more, and then do whatever you want. I'm just over watching the same crap year in and year out. Hmm. Like, I understand Carson played bad. I'm not making up for it and saying, hey, Carson was great. Carson has been terrible this season. But where was 14 rushes for Miles Sanders last week or the week before? I think it was like 4 and then 6. So the run game opens up the opportunity to pass. Why hasn't Doug done this? Like, to me, it doesn't make sense. I just want to exit out of that. It just pisses me off. But what I keep failing to realize, and well, not with me, but others keep failing to realize, I'm a fan who doesn't want instant satisfaction. Them winning last night, great. Jalen Hurts got his first win. It was a team win. The defense bailed them out against Taysom Hill, who's not good. We just lost McLeod, which sucks. Tearing his ACL. Slay's in concussion protocol. Avonte Maddox, who's a matador anyway. He's burnt toast. He's going to miss some time. So now we're going to play some rookies or some free agent guys that I've never seen before against Murray, who they're fighting against the playoff spot, and another one of the best wide receivers in the game with DeAndre Hopkins this week coming up. How do you stop that? And now that there's actual film on Jalen Hurts, do you think he's going to do the same thing that he did against the Saints? Hell no. Hell no. It is going to be a way different ball game on Sunday. And this is where I think that you're going to see some decisions are going to have to come down, whether it be fire anybody, which isn't happening. We just talk about it. We're trying to talk it into existence. It's like writing on a whiteboard and just being like, yeah, I'll be a millionaire one day. Just into existence, and hopefully it works. Yeah. But they're not going to fire him. We already know that Doug might leave at the end of the season on his own just because he doesn't fucking want to be here anymore. And I'm not mad about that because Howie's got all the power. Then you got Howie up there. Oh my God, he came down. He had to dab up fucking Jalen Hurts before the game, like making a point. Oh, that's my boy. This is the guy that I wanted. You're a fucking weasel. Stay up in the box. He has a decent game. I'm looking at passing. He has a decent game. I'm glad he can run. But you look at your team, the Ravens. What happens when Lamar doesn't run or they stop Lamar from running? They make him pass. And then what happens? He makes a lot of mistakes. Or he just fucking sucks and can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. The dude could literally throw it across the ocean and not hit water when he's in the pocket. So you're going to force Jalen Hurts to stay in the pocket. He's probably going to have to hold on to the ball a little longer because our wide receivers aren't going to be able to get open. And it's going to be the same thing. They're going to feast on him like they did Carson. Like, come on, dudes. It's one game. It's one game. I want to see Hurts succeed, but I want the organization to realize all of their failures and what they did to not help their franchise quarterback, who they just signed to a huge contract, that all these idiots on Twitter are saying, oh, we're going to trade him. And Dan Orslowski, they need to trade him to Indy. What the fuck are you going to get for him, Dan? What are you going to get for him? A 4th round pick? 5th round pick? And you have to eat. Oh, let's see what the number is next year that I've been saying. $59 million, but it's okay because if they trade him post June 1st, it's only 49 million in dead cap. So how are you going to rebuild a team when you don't have any money to spend? What are you going to get back? A fourth round pick? What are you going to do with that? Nothing. Then you got Fletcher Cox next year, $21 million. But post June 1st, which means you have to pay him, it's only $7 million. So he got 14 out of that. Alshon Jeffrey, 10 million dead. Brendan Graham, 17. Lane Johnson, 39.
Jesus.
Darius Slay, he's not going anywhere. 21. Javon Hargrave, 22. And the list goes on. Malik Jackson, 12 million in dead cap. Deshaun Jackson, 5 million. Are you fucking kidding me with these terrible contracts? And we want to sit here being like, oh, this is the team I want to see in the future. We can't do anything. We are so tied money-wise. We're at negative 68 million. And that's if we don't trade Carson. So imagine if you trade Carson and it's negative 68 million at the cap next year, plus that 60 million for the next 2 years. So you're at negative 100 million next year. How do you build a team?
Yeah, I honestly do feel like a lot of this is also so reactionary. It's like, when did this whole talk of like him being traded away all of a sudden like come up just because of one good game? It's just like you've spent so much money on this dude. He's gonna be the franchise. He's literally gonna be here for the remaining of his contracts. I just don't see a trade happening at all.
I don't see how you can trade him.
Yeah.
Or why do you want to trade him?
Yeah.
Like, to me, it makes zero sense. And I love like all these hypotheticals. Pro Football Focus was talking about. I forget a bunch of other. Who else was talking? Roto World's like putting it out there, like, oh, they should trade Carson Wentz to Indianapolis. In what world would they even want to take that on? You're not going to take on that contract, number one. And number two, the Eagles can't eat that money because they have no money. So how are you going to spend? Who are you going to get? What free agents can you bring in with negative $100 million? None.
Yeah.
None. Change the narrative. Hurts played well. They're seeing what they have in Hurts. He could be a decent backup. Starter, I'm still out on it. I'm sorry. I'm still out. I don't want another quarterback who's going to run first, pass second. Because when they're down, they can't come back. Because it's not in the game plan. Like our buddy Tasso said today, well, they're a team that's built to play with a lead. No shit. Every team's built to play with a lead. Mm-hmm. And when you have a running quarterback, you need to have a lead because you're going to rely real heavy on him. And it's hard to disguise a guy who can't throw the ball. And when you have zero playmakers around him, like look at Rager last night. He was track star speed, like Olympic speed, they were saying. He looked slow. The one ball that was thrown across the field, he barely got a hand on. Where's that 4.2 speed? I'm sorry. Like the optimist in me, the defensive line played well. They got a lot of pressure on Taysom Hill because when they're down, Taysom's got to throw. He's not a good passer. But when they're up, he can put his shoulder down and run through you. It's the same thing that's going to happen with Jalen Hurts. If you get down early, you're going to make the guy throw the ball. He's going to make mistakes, whether it be rookie mistakes or whether it just be, I'm not that good of a passer mistakes. Lamar Jackson, that was an anomaly last year with his passing. Like he had the touchdown regression in passing was going to come because the one game where he had 5 passes in a row, and I think it was the first half of 5 touchdowns. Like that's ridiculous. He was 5 for 5 with 5 touchdowns. Like numbers get inflated. You see what you want to see. I'm glad the Eagles won, but at the same time, I'm not because you're going to keep the same people in power and the same people making the same stupid mistakes and screwing this organization. And us, the fans, are going to be like, well, at least Jalen Hurts got that win on his first game. Get the fuck out of here. And don't say, oh, people who are rooting against this team aren't fans. I've been a fan for a long time. I'm not rooting against this team. I'm rooting against the organization because Jeffrey Lurie's failing us by keeping Howie Roseman around. Keep Doug around. I don't care. Get rid of Howie. Just make sure you bring in a guy who can get talent and not sign aging veterans to shit fucking deals. Look on SpotRack. Go on SpotRack.com. Look at next year's salary cap. And you tell me that Howie Roseman did a great job, and I will laugh in your face.
It's that's essentially what ruins good organizations. I mean, you kind of see it all the time. They overspend on money. I mean, they overspend on aging athletes that essentially are either injury prone, gave it all their last year for a good contract, and then just the next year they come literally deflated. They're just like they're not gonna do what they did the season before. I could barely think of any examples, bar maybe like LaShawn McCoy that's still doing decent after he left, right?
I mean, and he hasn't even done that well.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't give veterans and guys who are on like their fourth and 15 contracts. It doesn't work. We Alshon Jeffrey did nothing for us after the Super Bowl. Thank you for the Super Bowl, but pack your bags and go. Deshaun Jackson hasn't played like 8 games in 4 years. But we gave him a shit ton of money, and he'll still probably be here next year because you can't take those cap hits. What's his cap hit after June 1st? 1.9. You can take it, but you're still giving money. Like you're still bleeding money for guys that you're not going to keep. It's sickening and it's terrible.
Yeah, that's definitely down to the GM. That's all. That's all his errors. It's just shame. I mean, look at Tampa Bay. Get a good example there too. Just how many players they have there on just stupid money. What
Yeah,
like
their organization is going to be trash after Tom Brady leaves. Antonio Brown's not making that much, but whatever. Fournette's got his money from whatchamacallit, from Jacksonville, so he doesn't care. He's there. But they brought in all these pieces because they got released from other teams, and they're like, oh, we'll play with Tom Brady and win a Super Bowl. They're not even looking that good. Tom Brady doesn't look that good. He destroyed Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin was amazing last year with Jameis Winston, and Tom Brady can't find him open.
yeah,
It makes me laugh when they keep saying Jameis Winston can't play. Jameis Winston could start for the Saints and light it up, but Sean Payton is in love with Taysom Hill,
which is
which
nuts. That blows my mind. I mean, looking at uh Winston's just a good quarterback. I mean, definitely as a backup, and he could probably start in a few teams around.
he could. I mean, he'll make dumb decisions. He'll throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions, but he'll always keep you in it.
Mm-hmm.
And he throws a pick six, but then he'll get the ball and he could still drive down the field. He's got an arm. He's not that bright. He makes stupid decisions, but he just got LASIK, so maybe his eyes were all fucked up. So maybe he can see now. But it's not like he was absolutely terrible. He still threw for over 5,000 yards. And then you bring a guy in who is another run first, pass second guy in an NFL where if you're down, you can't do that. 49ers suck. They don't have a quarterback. And you look at us, hey, maybe we can trade Jalen Hurts for a second round pick. Then why do we draft Jalen Hurts if we're going to trade him for a second round pick?
And
there's no logic to it. I just don't understand some of the logic. And everybody's, oh, well, you just love Carson. You just love this. No, I want to see a well-rounded team. We are having an aging offensive line. They're not getting better. We have an aging wide receiving core. They're not that good. And we know this, especially after last night. We're only six completions to wide receivers. We have Miles Sanders. We have Carson. Now we have Jalen Hurts. Rager, yet to be seen, but doesn't look like he's going to live up to his hype or his potential, even though he wasn't hyped. That was the organization hyping him up. So I don't know. What happened to Travis Fulgham? Why all of a sudden he plays 11% of the snaps when he was our best wide receiver when we had no one? How did he fall from grace? Because Howie goes, hey, we're paying this dude Alshon a shit ton of money. Let's let him play. 1 catch, 15 yards, and a touchdown.
Such bullshit. Such bullshit.
I just don't understand this organization. I gotta stop letting it bother me. But it's just like every day it's the same thing. It's like Groundhog's Day. They start a quarterback controversy when we didn't need one, and then you still keep Howie around. Like I would have said goodbye already, but you get a win for him, and now the Eagles are 4-8. What's going to happen? Where's the future? Or what are they, 4-8 or 4-9, whatever? What's the future of the organization look like? It doesn't look good. It looks very bleak. And that's my plate with the organization. They did nothing to help anybody on this team. We're going to need a whole new secondary. We're going to need a whole new linebacking core, whole new offensive line, all new wide receivers. That's 4 skill groups, 5 skill groups that we're going to need. And we have no money and we can't draft. So how are we going to be able to address that and fix it?
The drafting thing is the most concerning thing of it all, which is why you need.
Well, that's why all these bad contracts are out there, because you can't draft. So you're forced to spend money on shit players. Learn how to fucking draft. Bring somebody in who can draft. It just boggles my mind. And that's what we think of the Eagles. I think we're going to get slaughtered this week by the Cardinals because the Cardinals really want to make the playoffs. I think Kyler Murray is actually going to feast, especially if Slay can't go. Who's covering DeAndre Hopkins? That's my question. On to what we're repping. Me and Oscar didn't even know, but we coordinated.
We did. We just like sports suck right now for everybody. So I'm just gonna become a Sixers fan. It's just something to look forward to. So why the heck not?
Yeah, I mean, basketball season tomorrow. We get our first preseason game at 7:30. You can find it on TNT or NBC Sports Philadelphia, or it'll be on 97.5 The Fanatic. 7:30, and they play the Celtics. So it's going to be awesome. We get to see Will Embiid again. We get to see Ben Simmons. We get to see our new look guys. So hopefully we get, a little bit of Danny Green, some Dwight Howard. I'm excited about the kid Maxey they got from Kentucky. A lot of good reports. I follow Paul, our first guest we had, and he's doing his thing with his podcast. So I listen to his stuff and what they say about Maxey and what they're saying about these guys. And, everybody's motivated. Everybody's there. Doc's got these guys. I mean, Joel Embiid's running the floor in practice. He looks way better. He's taking better care of himself, which I'm glad Fat Boy's doing that because he needs to lay off the chicken sandwiches from Chick-fil-A. And I know those peppermint milkshakes are banging. But you can't have more than one in a sitting, Joel. So it makes me happy that my dude is getting healthy. Hopefully, it carries over into a great season. I'm just looking forward to watching Seth Curry come out, drain a few threes. There was a stat. It was like most assisted 3-pointers, and Ben Simmons was, I think, number 2 or 3 on the list. And look at the people he was passing the ball to.
Yeah.
So it's pretty incredible what Ben's been doing. Ben's been solid his whole career. Super excited. He's still got room to grow. But Oscar, what do you make of the Harden rumors? They're fucking hilarious.
Yeah, kind of like going into it. I think the last thing I actually did see since what's his name went over to Houston right now,
John Wall.
John Wall. Yeah, it's John Wall. Goes over there. So apparently now he just wants to stay, which I figured was bluff from day one. Why would the Sixers want James Harden besides the fact that he's an elite goal scorer? I mean, point scorer. Talk about goals now. But no, seriously, it was just like, how would they afford him anyways? Like, would the Sixers be able to afford him?
Well, they'd have to get rid of Ben, and then the salary cap works with like the first round picks. So first round picks, there's a max cap spot for that for the draft. So when you draft a guy at that position, there's an X amount of money that he can make. So that's all factored into like next year's salary cap on being able to do that if you get rid of like your number one.
Okay.
I mean, people are like, oh my God, the Houston Rockets are so stupid asking for Ben Simmons and 3 first-round picks. It's like, no, it's called negotiating. It's like, okay, you send that out. And Morey goes, no, I don't want to do that because I already said I'm not giving up Ben or Joel, and I just don't think it's going to work. So I'm sorry, your offer's too high. We're good for now. Like, it's called negotiating. What are you going to say? We're going to trade you James Harden for Tobias Harris. Enough said. James Harden and 2 second-round picks, protected late-round second picks. We can do that. Like, what do you think Houston's going to do? Like, give the dude away for like a bag of peanuts? It's not going to happen. But I also have faith in Daryl Morey, where he states, I want to build this team around Ben and Joe. No, we don't need to trade away Ben Simmons for James Harden.
When
There's,
he's
there's
future. He's literally your future.
and James Harden hasn't won anything. James Harden is like a perennial loser. Like no matter his supporting cast, he doesn't win because that's the type of player he is. He's a scorer. He's a one player. Like I'm sorry, I don't want James Harden. He'll take over the game, cool, but will he win you a championship? No, he's not that type of player. Like it's like KD, LeBron, Steph, like those are three guys who can instantly come into a game and change it. One they're healthy, one they're dominant, and I would say Kawhi was the same way when he locked everything down when he was with Toronto. Last year he turned into like a mega douche apparently. Him and Paul George out in LA from all the reports I read. So I don't know what the fuck happened to him. He was like this quiet guy. Then now I'm going to control when we practice. I'm going to be late to team flights. It's like, no, that's it's really odd behavior from a guy who doesn't speak. But hey, you win one, you think you're LeBron, you think you're the shit. But you got
I heard
LeBron.
that changes when you drive a Maserati for the first time.
Yeah, I actually saw a Maserati on the bridge. It was like a weird dude was driving. He's like, oh, I think he just did a bunch of cocaine shit, a moving jaw. So I was like, this old dude's coked out at 9 o'clock on the Ben Franklin Bridge on a Saturday morning. It's awesome. And it was white and it was dirty. I'm like, dude, it's a Maserati. Like, clean this shit up. You're taking it out for a ride. Like, come on, dude, clean it up.
It's
But
times are a little tough for everybody. I feel like then.
you just can't get out there with a rag. Just
Yeah, right.
hit it with a hose. Like Jesus. But it's like those are the guys who I would think can instantly come in, make you a championship contender just by their style of play. You know LeBron's going to take over in the playoffs. LeBron in the playoffs is you don't want to see him. Steph, when he's healthy in the play, you don't want to see him. KD is an animal. He's probably one of my favorite players. I think he's a complete shithead, but it's one of my favorite players. I love his game. But like those are guys where if I'm trading like a fundamental piece like Ben Simmons and 3 number ones, I want to get one of those guys.
Mm-mm.
Going after James Harden to be like, okay, this guy might go on a cold streak in the playoffs, and the only thing the guy can do is score. I'm not that. I'm sorry. I'm just not committed to. I watched James Harden play with Russell Westbrook, another guy who's a lunatic, with Chris Paul, who had a career year last year, Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant early on. I mean, like you look at it, and I'm just not impressed. Like I'm good. James Harden's an elite scorer, but I don't like any other aspect of his game. So he can stay there. I want to and develop. And we don't need a guy who's going to shoot the ball 50 times. Like that's why I love Daryl Morey coming in. He got a great supporting cast around Ben and Joe. They don't need 3 stars. They have a great supporting cast. You have a guy like Danny Green who's going to start, or if something happens, comes off the bench, knock down 4 threes. Hey man, that's 12 points for us. Great. Play some defense, get some rebounds. We're good. Matisse Thybulle, he's going to lock people down on the perimeter. Joel Embiid's going to do his thing. Hopefully, average double-double, maybe a triple-double if we get lucky. Ben Simmons, another guy's going to average a double-double, maybe a triple-double. Hopefully, a triple-double. Seth Curry, come off the bench, drain some threes. Like we're set up right now to be a contender for this year and next year, and to see what we can do to help us grow. We'll see what Maxey has, see what Isaiah Joe has. Like I'm amped for this team. Like I can't wait to see what is going to happen and how everything's going to fall into place, because I believe Doc is a great fit for this team, for accountability, and to get the most out of his players.
Huge fan of that Doc Rivers fella. I think it was a little bit disappointing what he did over at the Clippers, but definitely seeing him here, I think, especially with Ben Simmons and Embiid, I think all good vibes going forward. Nothing to complain about.
I don't think it was necessarily his fault why the Clippers weren't good, because all the reports coming out, it was literally Kawhi and PG ran the show. If you can't get your 2 stars to listen and they both sucked in the bubble, what are you going to do? I mean, the the bubble wasn't made for prissy superstar players. That's why TJ Warren was like the MVP of the bubble from the Pacers. Like they're made for guys who are gritty players who don't give a shit and go out there and perform. When you get the divas who, oh, I can't be away from this. I have to do this. Like Lou Williams going to the strip club and getting like a platter of wings and then having to quarantine for 10 days and missing some games. Like, okay, he's on the Clippers. That's going to hurt you. Now you're missing your sixth man of the year from the previous year. And the Clippers lost what's his name? Montez Harrell. He went to the Lakers this year because I guess he's like, hey, I just won six man. I'll go team up with LeBron, win a championship because I know Kawhi and PG aren't leading us to one. Like that speaks volumes. And I don't think it was Doc Rivers was the reason why. But it's like the same concerns we had with Daryl Morey when he was in Houston. Like he brought in all these players. He got a great cast around James Harden, but they couldn't win. So was it Morey building the team? I don't think so. The more I look at it is Harden not being able to be a well-rounded player and to lead them. I love Harden, watching him score, his style of play, but it just doesn't fit for the Sixers. I don't think he's going to be here. I'm not even worried about it. My main concern is the health of Ben and Joe. They can stay healthy. I see them going on a tear and possibly finishing like 2 or 3 in the East. I don't think they're going to be one. I don't think it's going to be the Nets as much as I think KD is going to take off and do well. Steve Nash, first time coach. It's going to be. I think they're going to make it into the playoffs, obviously, depending on the health of their team. But Kyrie never stays healthy. So then it would just be Dimwitty, Karis LeVert, and basically the KD show. So KD can take over like his days in OKC and sneak in as like the 5 or 6. But it's most likely going to be the Bucks at the top. Raptors still have a great team. So I think it's going to be – I think the Sixers are going to battle. But I don't see them falling, below 3 or 4 in the East.
I'm just gonna say first because why not? They're gonna win the East.
I wish. And you still got Miami to contend with Jimmy Butler down there. So, I mean, that's the thing that stings.
I love Jimmy Butler.
I know. It's the thing that stings the most from like that whole thing. It's just Jimmy leaving. Like it'd be great to have these guys. Thank you, Tobias, but see it. Like Tobias be gone. And having Jimmy with these guys and then the supporting cast. Like
disgusting, holy
with
shit.
Doc Rivers, but that just shows you Brett Brown couldn't do it, and Elton Brand had no idea what he was doing, without guidance in like a president of basketball operations, aka Daryl Morey. So we'll see. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. I can't wait to tune in. But that's pretty much it for tonight, man.
Yeah, nice and short. Definitely got the feelings that because definitely didn't speak about the Eagles for a while.
Yeah, it was beating us up. I had to like text Oscar on the side, like doing this, and I'm like, I don't want to keep doing the redundant, like same podcast, beating them up. Because it's like you're beating yourself up. It's like beating up something you love, and then you watch the game, and it's just like I don't love it anymore. Like I'm not loving what I see. I am happy the Eagles won last night, but it's going to come at a steep price at the end of the season. And that steep price is we're going to be mediocre for the next 3 to 7 years because of the bad decisions, and we're going to keep Howie. So my advice at the end of this, my final thoughts, if you don't fire Howie, we will be mediocre and not win another Super Bowl in the next 3 to 7 years. I just don't see it happening.
So you're saying like it's imperative to just do it this season, right? Like there's no way next season.
Fresh. I mean, who cares with Carson's contract and Hurts? You keep them both. Competition, whatever. You can't get rid of Carson because what are you going to do with all that money that you're going to eat? Just fucking eat it and keep him on your roster. Don't eat it and send him somewhere else and have him win 3 Super Bowls. I think if Carson does get traded, which I don't see happening, and if he does go to Indy with Frank Reich, with that defense, and he can make that offense. I mean, Phillip Rivers is running that offense well. I think Carson Wentz can run that offense way better than Phillip Rivers. He'll win 3 Super Bowls in the next 7 years. And the Eagles won't win any. I think 2017 was the perfect year for us to get lightning in a bottle, and that's pretty much it. Like, we caught lightning in a bottle. Everything happened. Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and everything fell into place. I don't see that happening again. Crazier things have happened, but if Howie Roseman stays in the next 3 to 7 years, we will be mediocre, 500 or below, maybe sneak into the playoffs a few times because that's what we do. But I don't see us winning. I just, with the talent that we see on the field, they are not a playoff contending team, let alone a Super Bowl team, not even a wild card team. Like they say, any given Sunday, things happen. But the things that'll happen for that to fall into place is way too much. And I don't pray for other teams to get injured because that's just wrong. And that's what I think would have to be. First drive, whatever quarterback, they go down, Eagles win. And I don't like saying that because I just don't believe in rooting for people to get hurt. But I don't see the Eagles being contenders with how they're drafting. I mean, we're the second worst drafting team in the league besides the Jets. Mm-hmm. And that's not good. I mean, even they drafted Denzel Mims this year, who was good. And we have Jalen Reagor, who gets lucky on a pick play. So that is my final thought. Oscar, what do you have?
Final thoughts. The Sixers are going to win the NBA championship.
Love it. Dude, I have a good feeling, man. Like, I'm smiling. Like, you're like, I think the Sixers. I'm just like,
yeah, let's do it.
I'm so excited. Like, there's not, like, it's just, man, to have a competent, not even, I love Brett Brown, but just to have a competent coach and a GM and a supporting cast again, it's a beautiful, and not having Al Horford's sister, that's great.
Yeah, that was awful tweet.
Shout out to Liv Simmons, Ben Simmons' sister, had her baby. Congrats.
First time. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, she's one of the funniest people to follow on Twitter. She's a savage. Love her to death. But anyway, we are done for the night. Thank you for coming out, Philly. Thank you for joining us. We'll be posting this on YouTube. It'll be on our SoundCloud. Subscribe, like us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at Drunk on Broad. You can find us at the Drunk on Broad podcast on YouTube, or you can find us Drunk on Broad podcast on SoundCloud. I'm Rich. My boy Oscar, hit me up at DickieC620 on Twitter. Oscar, drop your handle.
Yeah, just drop me a handle. Drop me a tweet at Oscar Majima. You know, tough name to spell out, but you can look it up. You know, Drunk on Broad. But it was a pleasure, guys. We'll see you guys soon.
All right. Peace.
Peace.